tonight, batten down the hatches. It's the Below Deck reunion.
There was not a question in my mind that they wouldn't fire me.
The reality show world is one that is infinitely weird and complex in its own way. Because at its core, the point of these reality shows is to go and do things that people wouldn't think about watching before, and yet would totally watch, because it's intriguing, or is something they never really knew about before. Why do you think the Kardashians show was so popular for so long? Exactly. But for one show, in Below Deck, they well and truly thought outside the box, and took things to the boats. Or in this case, the yachts. And for 23 seasons, they rocked those yachts. But what about the OG cast? Allow us to show you Below Deck Season 1 cast then and now. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. What was Below Deck again? Okay, for those who haven't seen the show or just haven't watched it, here is a look at what it's all about. In short, the series Below Deck is about the crews of various super yachts around the world, but mainly in places like the US, the Bahamas, England, and so on. You might not think that this is a reality TV-worthy show, but remember, it's reality TV. There's always a way to make something seem better than it actually is. And sure enough, the fun of the show wasn't just the crew members, but the people they were serving. Because if you had a super yacht at your beck and call, you would have a lot of money, and that leaves you pretty entitled, which the crew that served, wait for it, Below Deck, had to deal with. Whether it was them going and dealing with every whim from the boat owners, to having to clean up after everything that went on during the day on the boat, to the personal drama between the workers, it was enough to keep the show going. And not only did it get a lot of seasons, and is still technically going on today, it got 2 spin-offs. So while it may not have seemed like something that would be a major success, it honestly was. But it wouldn't have gotten anywhere without the OG crew that helped lure in the viewers. So let's take a look at what happened with them, shall we? Alex Taldekin. Those who remember Alex Taldekin will recall that he had a lot of looks, but not much else, except when it came to resentment towards the captain of the yacht that he worked on. What was the source of that tension? Well, it turns out that he was actually supposed to be the captain of the boat himself, and he even auditioned for that role. Bravo, a network that prided itself on its beautiful people, thought that Alex was perfect for the captain position because he was young and striking, and sure to bring in viewers as a result. However, because the boat owner did not feel comfortable with Alex as the captain, to be clear, Alex was qualified for the position, there was a last-minute shift, and Captain Lee was brought in instead, and that likely led to the on-screen tension between the two. Taldekin left after 1 season, and now runs his own yacht charter company, proving that he could be captain, and no doubt is happy to not be with some of the other cast members anymore. Just saying. Ben Robinson. It's always good when you have a face on a series that keeps popping up, and for Ben Robinson, that was definitely him. While many on Below Deck never went beyond 2 seasons, Ben popped up many times over the years in a variety of ways and on various boats and spin-offs. He now lives in Florida and has taken his culinary skills to the next level as he's opened up his own catering service. Check out what his website has to say about him. Chef Ben Robinson is accomplished on both land and sea. He is a master chef that has worked under Italian chefs in Florence and gained an apprenticeship at 3-star Michelin star restaurant, The Fat Duck, based in the United Kingdom. Ben has a successful catering business for which he travels all over the world, creating culinary masterpieces. He is available for private events, private instruction, and guest appearances. So if you're willing to spend a little dough and are a fan of Below Deck, you might just be able to get Ben to host your party and chat about his time on the show. It's up to you. Adrienne Gang. With a name like that, you know that this has to be a rather serious lady, right? Well, yeah, actually, she was. In fact, she was that person on the show that absolutely went and took her job a bit too seriously. We all know people like that, right? And given certain things, Will mentioned you'd think that Gang wouldn't want to be on a boat anymore, but you'd be wrong. She's still a yachty and remains working as a chief stew on other boats. But that's not the end of her connection to Below Deck. Because, you see, while she hasn't lost her love of boating, she does seem to seriously hate the show. So much so that she goes onto Reddit, of all places, and blasts the show for being heavily produced, even calling out certain departures of key cast members of certain seasons as pre-planned by the producer team. And to be fair, she is right. There is a lot of heavily produced parts of the show, key among them being the relationships that go on in the yachts. Why is that heavily produced? Because on most yachts, it's strictly forbidden to have relationships, as it could interfere with your work on the boat. But of course, Bravo doesn't care about the rules like that, and it would interfere with the drama that the series could produce. So yeah, they're allowed to mingle and interact in their quarters, if you get our drift. And apparently, Gang hated that drift, so thus she called them out for it. Kat Held. She technically appeared on season 2, but we're going to lump her in here, because we can, and recall how she really just wanted to be at the bar. Which, if you think about all the drinks they likely have on a super yacht like this, that's a fair thing to ask for. However, unlike others who would be on the show, she didn't stay in the world of yachts after the show. She left the scene entirely and tried various other career fields before deciding that she wanted to go into nursing. We appreciate her desire to test the waters and see where she could end up. Sam Orme. During season 1, Sam mostly just hated her job. We all know someone like Sam. And maybe Adrienne even more. Remember, she took her job way too seriously. It shouldn't come as a surprise that she's no longer a yachty. Thanks to some looking around on the internet, it appears she's an engineer now. And in July, she gave birth to her first child, Blake. Which is nice, because even though she didn't like her job, she did find something that she likes. And good things happen because of it. Eddie Lucas. Eddie was very much the kind of person that Bravo was looking for in regards to casting for their show. He had a winning smile and hair combo, and wasn't afraid to be the bad boy in order to stir things up. He stayed on for multiple seasons, until he went and had an affair with a season 3 crew member that eventually got him in real trouble with his real girlfriend. Oops. He works on tugboats now, but still appears on Below Deck at times, showing that his winning smile apparently still gets him perks. David Bradbury. If Eddie was the person that Bravo wanted for the show, you could argue that David Bradbury was not. Mainly because he was actually an innocent man just trying to do his job and not ruffle any feathers. That's not to say that there wasn't any major storylines with him, as he is gay and would later get engaged to his boyfriend after the first season. He also was someone who appeared on multiple seasons of Below Deck, and now he's single and working as an actor in Hollywood. Captain Lee. As noted, Captain Lee wasn't meant to be the captain on the show. In fact, he at first hated the idea, but he grew to love it. Fun fact, he's the longest running member of the Below Deck franchise. He lives in Fort Lauderdale with his wife, Marianne. He remains friends with several former Below Deck cast members, though it doesn't appear that he is tight with his honor crew. So for a guy who didn't want a job like that, he seemed to have benefited a lot from it. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at the Bravo series Below Deck, and how the show was able to make even working on a boat seem like the most important job ever? Did you ever watch the series yourself? Are you a die-hard fan that has been here since day one? What do you think of this look back at the OG season and the crew that started it all off? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.